Back with the WMAY morning news feed. Yesterday in Sangamon County Court, there was a hearing on a case of teachers and staff suing 22 school districts over COVID-19 vaccine mandates and mask mandates. This is one of several cases that attorney Thomas DeVore has filed. Another one deals with more than 700 parents suing 140 different school districts over mask and quarantine mandates being imposed on kids. And attorney Thomas DeVore saying this all deals with due process issues. It's the WMAY morning news feed. I'm Greg Bishop, 7:53 now. You can always get a hold of me, bishoponair@gmail.com. Want to review some of the discussion yesterday and what happened. So before New Year's, on December 30th, Sangamon County Judge Raylene Grishow, she ruled against a request for the teachers' unions to intervene in the case of parents suing school districts. Essentially saying that there's provided no actual evidence of a harm done by people having their due process rights, and also seeming to indicate that the teachers' unions' arguments are going to be the same arguments that are going to be used by the state. So that's the parents' case, and that case is actually going to be heard more on Wednesday. But yesterday in Sangamon County Court, Judge Grishow, she heard some arguments in the case that teachers and staff have against 22 school districts. I wanted to play for you some of yesterday's hearing, which streamed on YouTube via the Sangamon County Clerk's office. So the circuit clerk posting that YouTube video for the public to be able to see all of these arguments and all of the processes taking place. So yesterday, the hearing started about 11 o'clock-ish and really focused first on a motion to pick a new judge. And that motion was heard, but ultimately the judge shooting that down. And then you hear the the teachers union attorney looking to intervene in the case that the teachers have against school districts, wanting to side with the state in this case, not the teachers that are suing. So the attorney shared some of her comments, and attorney Thomas DeVore later in the day responding to some of that as well. Ultimately here, the case continues, but I want to highlight for you some of the things that were discussed yesterday, including you'll hear from Judge Grishow ruling on the motion to select a new judge. You'll also hear from attorney Loretta Haggard representing the teachers unions, and you'll also hear from attorney Thomas DeVore arguing his point in this case. So here's some of the highlights from yesterday's Sangamon County Court action dealing with COVID-19 cases and in particular challenges to COVID-19 vaccine, mask, and other mandates.
I'm going to deny the motion for substitution of judge. The reason for that is this is a TRO. It needs to be heard. And I take point with what Mr. DeVore said with regard to the Supreme Court and sending these cases to Sangamon County. I understand it is a matter of right, but if every defendant would do that, this case would never be heard. Because I presume, which maybe I shouldn't, but from my practice days, defense counsel talk, and it can be a matter of gamesmanship. I'm gonna file mine then it'll get substituted, then I'm gonna file mine, and this will go on for infinity, and it will never be heard. We'll run out of judges before it's heard, and that causes a prejudicial effect to the plaintiffs. We've been dealing with this COVID issue. It needs to be decided, and so I'm going to deny the motion. And in addition, I don't see what's stopping Mr. DeVore from voluntarily dismissing someone from the case who files a motion for substitution of judge. He can keep the case moving that way. He hasn't done it, but that's another tactical thing that could be done. So I feel that there will be prejudice to the parties if we do not go forward with this.
If everyone who doesn't feel like getting a vaccine or taking a nasal swab or saliva test decides to go and fight it and demand individual due process, that is going to break down the system. And in addition, many of the people aren't going to be contagious. at the time they test. And they're gonna say, well, that's the reason why we shouldn't have to mask, we shouldn't have to vaccine, we shouldn't have to test. We're not contagious. Well, then we're just chasing our tail, and we never get ahead of the virus.
That's really what everything you hear in this courtroom for the next however long it is has to do with that. They're trying to suspend what they know to be due process under the law because they're worried about the practical realities of if people are afforded their due process rights. That's really the issue. And you know what my response is to that, Judge? You know what my response is? The legislature can fix that. If they want to fix it, enter a ruling that says this has gone on long enough, this executive fiat. It's not allowed under the law. And if the legislature of this state that represents the people truly believes everything that Mr. Berticchio is saying here about everybody's going to get sick and pass away, they can be in session in a week and they can pass a law that resolves all of this. But until then, we all deal with the law that was given to us. And if the practical matter is the law as it's written creates procedural complications for them, that's not the people's fault, ma'am. Thank you.
So again, just some of the highlights of the arguments yesterday in Sangamon County Court dealing with challenges of COVID-19 vaccine, mask, and exclusion mandates. A couple of different cases. Yesterday, they heard the case of teachers suing. Wednesday, they'll hear the case of parents suing. But the conversations continue as the judge in that case getting some briefs from several different school districts and a variety of others looking to have their say in what's going on here. So we'll definitely be following up on this because it's all here in Sangamon County, and these school districts are all from across the state. But even those who have sought to do some legal maneuvers to try to change venues, it all went all the way up to the Supreme Court, and they said, we're going to combine all these cases into Sangamon County. So you can see some of the requests for a change of judge being denied. You can see some of the requests for intervening in these cases possibly being denied. It was already denied from the teachers union taking part in the case of parents suing. They're trying to intervene in the case of teachers suing. So we'll keep you updated on all of this. It's right here on WMAY.
From the Fly SPI studios, take the easy way out. Stay